What else? Played a bunch of games. Those don't really matter. Let's talk about mind goblins. Let's talk about what happens when a common mind goblin becomes a strong mind goblin, and the steps that you take to beat that mind goblin.
A mind orc?
Yeah, a mind hobgoblin, if you would. So, you might have seen a tweet going around, got like 10,000 retweets, and it was, a video game tells you, hey, this is a really valuable item, be careful when you use it. And the person's response is, okay, got it, never use it. And the game goes, no, I mean, hoard it like a dragon, got it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I have this fun little thing in my brain called the OCD, which most of the time is the funsies, haha. Occasionally will make me do things compulsively, haha, whatever. But I got it mostly under control, except for items in games. Out of control. Can't. I had a fucking anxiety attack in a fucking Resident Evil 2 stream in which I'm looking at a fucking item box with so many health items I can't carry them. Completely full stacked up shotgun and magnum ammunition. So much ammunition I couldn't even put it in my inventory for the final boss. Going, oh god, I can't shoot any of the enemies on the way to the final boss. What if I don't have enough ammunition for the final boss? This consumable item shit is out of control. Can't do it. It's fucking me up. So, I decided to try and do something, because the main way that you work through your OCD compulsions is by just forcing yourself to not do them, and then the world doesn't end.
Yes, this is what you should do.
So you deal with it. So I decided, okay, I'm going to play a bunch of roguelikes. Okay, I'm buying items from the shops. I'm using health pickups. Roguelike part of it, done. I can do it. I can buy items from the shops and use them.
A lot of them go away when your run ends. So.
Yes. So this is the baby step, right? Played Dead Cells, a game which I very, very overtly was the first time people saw this behavior, in which I would literally never buy anything from a shop in Dead Cells because, well, you technically save a little bit of money, so what if I need it later to buy something else from the shop? But I never do, right? Played Dead Cells.
Is this why you decided to go back to roguelikes?
I was part of the reason, yeah. Also, Gungeon Farewell to Arms came out that week, right? Okay, bought items at Dead Cells, bought things from the shops. Okay, got it. Hades, you buy shit all the time. Money means nothing in that game. Okay,
you lose it all at the end of your run.
Yeah, got it down. When there's no permanence, I can spend it. Okay, next step. You know what's a really amazing game that I never was able to properly enjoy because I would save scum the shit out of it? Dishonored. And anybody who's been following my Twitter over the past week has seen that my attempt to defeat the Dishonored mind goblins has been going way less successfly as a result.
Before you branch off of this, I should give a shout out to the person who tweeted, I'm going to design a game where when you get to the end,
the final boss grabs every item from your inventory and uses them against you.
All your consumables are used against you. And I'm like, that's fucking platinum.
It's brilliant.
That is diamonds. You need to actually execute this now.
Mm-hmm. So, Dishonored is, and I spoke to other people about this, Dishonored is actually poisonous for OCD people because it has so many little aspects in it that cause your mental brain trigger to go wild.
So I didn't see your tweets. I just saw people talking about them.
How stupid I was? Yeah.
Because you refuse to play the game by using the things it has.
That's correct. So let me break that down for you.
I don't fucking... Also, Red Bulls are consumables. You're aware.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Okay.
You can always get more. They're infinite at the store.
Okay.
Potions you can buy, you can use those all the time because they don't run out. But ethers you don't because they're rare. So if there was a rare type of Red Bull that I could buy at the store only for a week, I would never be able to drink it.
So limited resources on our planet?
Well, I'm going to be dead. It all goes away when my run ends, so that's fine.
Okay, because I was going to say gasoline and helium.
I don't give a shit.
Currently in short supply. But...
I'll be fine. I don't drive. That's how short-sighted I am. But, Dishonored is a stealth game, stealth action game that is extremely good, and I can see that it's good, but I always felt miserable playing it.
It always comes up in the Thief discussion.
Yeah. This game is supposed to be the sequel to Thief. Like, they even talked about it. The biggest thing is that you can go through that game with a high chaos, which is big murder, or a low chaos run, which is no murder. So, upon playing the game the first time, many years ago when it came out, I said, well, I want to get the best ending. So I would save scum my way out of every situation so that I could beat the mission without anybody seeing me or with anybody getting killed and do all the perfect endings. It took me like 10 hours to do 3 missions in like a 20-hour game, right?
What's the actual problem?
The problem is at the end of the mission screen, it tells you how many people you've killed, how many people bodies were found, and gives you a check mark that says you were never seen, and it gives you a different check mark that says you never killed anyone, and that you finished the mission perfectly. That is the problem.
So completing it without that means
you failed.
I see.
Right? So
it's funny. This would have been helpful not too long ago when I was arguing with Min about the whole design of Sekiro, intended versus unintended,
right?
And whether or not running in, stealthing, killing one guy, alerting, and running out of the zone to de-aggro everybody
is that intended or not?
Intended or not? Yeah, we were having a big debate about
like, it. So here's the thing: is like there were a lot of people that had the same complaint because it is this isn't even OCD, but when you give a player a check mark for doing something, not getting that check mark for a subsection of people feels like they screwed up.
Did you play every mission in DMC until you got an S before moving forward?
Nope.
So what's the difference with this check mark?
One's a gradient and one's a binary.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. It's hitting
I have hit
the particulars of the skin crawl. Yeah,
it's like is it thumbs up or thumbs down?
Yeah,
not hey, pretty good, or oh, that was all right.
The flesh itches.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So I then did a lot of talking with people, and I'm like, it's very difficult to try and break a habit like that when it's ingrained. So somebody gives you an explanation as to why you shouldn't be doing that, and then you argue with them, which is the opposite of what you started the process to do, right? I'm like, well, I feel like I have to kill people, and they go, no, the devs said you can kill people. They just want the ending to reflect the type of character you played. Yeah, but I want the best ending. And it's like, why am I arguing against the habit that I'm trying to right? And the thing that broke it for me is the explicit design in Dishonored is the reason why there's combat and lethal shit in that game is so that when you get spotted, you don't have to quick load it. You can just kill the people that are attacking you and go to the next part of the mission and stealth that without having to obsessively quick save and quick load, which was a problem in all the first-person stealth games
Are
prior.
You explicitly rewarded with different endings?
There is one ending.
How this goes?
There is one ending that you get if you didn't murder everyone, and there's one ending that you get if you pretty much did murder everyone.
Okay.
And it runs into this issue that for an average person wouldn't be a problem, but for somebody who obsesses over these kinds of things does become a problem because it's low chaos versus high chaos, right? And it tracks how many bodies got eaten by rats, how many people you killed, etc., right? Problem is, for the air quotes, the problem is that I don't know how many people you kill counts as high chaos. Is it 1? Is it 5? Is it 20? Right? Like, I don't know. Turns out the answer is 20% of the entire level's population, which is hard to do if you're actually trying to be sneaky, right? But because there's no information in the game, people like me just go, oh, well, it must be a disaster if you kill even a 1 person. So make sure to quick load so you don't get the bad ending, because if you killed anyone, you'll get the bad ending.
Did you have a problem with Undertale?
Nope.
Because Undertale requires complete genocide or complete pacifism with no in-betweens.
That's right. That is incredibly comfortable.
Yeah.
to me.
Versus,
hey, if I died in the boss fight against Papyrus without pacifisting, I don't just go, oh, I'll kill him now anyway. It's like, nope, got to do it the right way.
Okay, all right,
right. Eventually got out of my ass on that and was like, I actually just got tired of reloading and just was like, fuck it, there's a part where people just straight assassins attack you and there was very little chance that you'd know they were there. I'm like, oh, whatever, I killed them, whatever. I'll make a rule in my head. People that attack me, they get to die. Everybody else, I'll try and be nice. But if they attack me, they're dead. Fuck them. Right? Okay. Goblin 1, somewhat slayed. Got around the fucking check mark because turns out it actually is a gradient that presents itself to you as a binary state. Right? So, Mind Goblin sidestep. Does that make any sense?
No.
Okay. The success fail rate looks like a binary. It looks like check mark or no check mark. But actually, behind the scenes, it is actually a much wider gradient. It's not kill one person and you fail. It's kill a fifth of the level and you get a different thing.
It's
right?
just displayed as a check mark.
But it's displayed as a fucking check mark. So, right? That context allows not to kill the Mind Goblin, but sidestep it. And here we get to the one that everybody's mad at me for.
Blink.
Which is Blink. So, Blink in Dishonored is the best ability in the game. It lets you look anywhere, and within about 20 feet, you just instantly teleport there. Just poof.
Sounds pretty mandatory.
It's really great. The problem is that there's a different power called Dark Vision, which is detective vision. And it shows you every single character's sight cone, which is pretty useful in a stealth game. It also makes the game look like shit, which feels like a design issue. Like, it makes the game look like piss, like all those detective visions do. And the way the mana system in that game works is when you use mana, it drains a little bit, but if you don't use any spells for 5 seconds, it regenerates to full, right? Well, you use Dark Vision. Well, then you got to wait 5 seconds for it to regenerate. And then you're going to go blink somewhere, but Dark Vision's going to wear off pretty soon. So you should actually just wait and pop Dark Vision again so that you can blink while you can see everyone's things.
So just why not do both when you're full?
Well, because then you'd run out of mana and you'd have to use a mana potion.
So you can't use both at the same time?
Oh, you totally could. And you can carry like 10 mana potions, which are like a 60% mana refill.
But you can't use both and then wait?
Oh, if you use 2 in a row, it'll only regen up to the second one. So every time you use powers in a row, or high cost
refills
powers,
one use, it doesn't refill 2 uses.
Basically.
So you're now down 1.
Yeah. And then, okay, but that's fine. You have 10 mana potions.
So now you're committed to losing points hard.
Right. So you have 10 mana potions. That's fine. Except, well, I don't know how many mana potions I'm going to get. So I got to save them for...
Stop. Why not use the ability to see where everything is and then do blink without the ability, because now you know where
because
everyone
what
is.
If they move and then I don't see where they are while I'm... Do you see this? Do you see this? And then here's where I knew it was bad. Here's where I knew it was really bad. You use Dark Vision and you see that there's the other worst part about Dark Vision is it shows you where every item in the area is, which is useful, except there's items there and a bunch of enemies. Well, now I have to go down there to get all the items, because what if I need those items later? But I don't blink down there because I have to keep Dark Vision all the time. So I crawl and I get spotted. So I reload and I crawl and I get spotted. And I reload and I crawl and get spotted.
There's no game
and
where...
what do I find down there? Mana potions that I can't pick up because my inventory is full of mana potions. And that's an area that I don't even need to go to. That's an area for people who are fighting their way through and need the mana potions for the combat juice, right? If I wanted to stealth it, I could have just gone zip, zip, zap, zap, boop, and then left. No problem. Would have been super easy, but I didn't, because I thought I had to get everything, but I couldn't use anything, and I couldn't use it at the same time. And this is the mind gobliniest it has been in a game for a while.
Is this your revisit to the game, or is this the initial time you played it?
This is the revisit.
Okay. The initial time you played it
was identical to this, but much worse.
And you wrote it off. Did you blame the game / say that the game sucks?
I blame the game in one respect, but realized it was mostly me. I don't like that the game...
Because it's really important to distinguish whether or not that initial dismissal was followed with your brain telling you, fuck Dishonored, this game is trash.
No, I never said that. In fact, I've always said that the game is great. I just wish I could enjoy it more, or that I don't get it. I do have a legitimate complaint, and I feel it's legitimate because other people have echoed it. And the game gives you way, 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 way more things to do to kill people than it does to not kill people. But the game's story implies that you shouldn't kill people. And I think that it's kind of a bummer that the most fun way to play it is the one that gets you the bad ending.
I understand that, and yeah, I understand. I was playing.
I think that's a bummer.
So I totally get that part, because I actually had that experience in Katana Zero. There's a mission where it's like, hey man, don't kill these cops, and I remember thinking that might affect the results somehow.
Yeah.
So I was trying to stealth my way out of a room, which the game was like, no,
you kill these cops.
Yeah, but because of the text prior to going into that room and how it plays out, you're under the impression that you might not possibly be supposed to do that.
It's like a less extreme version of what happened in Human Revolution. It's like in Human Revolution, you have way more stuff you can do if you're willing to kill people.
Yeah.
And some of the bosses are dealt really bad if you don't want to kill them, right?
Or like even Metal Gear, right? Although like Metal Gear eventually started to make it so that like stealth options were as numerous as like offensive options, because who the fuck is actually laying a claymore in the walking path of a guard?
No one.
Like, who's ever done that ever?
And so another reason why I feel that complaint is legitimate is because the devs took that complaint to heart, and in the second game you have way more stealth abilities that are about non-lethal. In particular, when you fight somebody and you parry them perfectly, instead of killing them, you can hit a different button to choke them out non-lethally, even if they've seen you, which isn't an option in the first game. They offer you powers that can sleep a whole room, or what is essentially a fucking trank grenade.
Raiden gets the trank gun in Sons of Liberty.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Stuff like that. So, cool. My reaction to it is extreme, but it's not actually that uncommon, right? The ability use shit is super goblin-y and 100% my like inside my head because of the way mana works, but even that they rolled back on, because in the last game, Death of the Outsider, there is no consumable energy. You just have a bar, and it will refill to full no matter what. It just matters what combination of powers are you going to use right now in the next 30 seconds.
Well, here's the question. If you have 0 mana, can you not just...
You can, and here's where it gets...
Stealth through the entire mission anyways, being extra careful?
So there's two parts of this that are going to make me seem or show how crazy I really am.
Thank you for correcting that.
One, the phrase that I'm trying to put into myself... So I've been talking about, quite honestly, there are a lot of people that are in this exact same boat. I don't know how and like normally this would be whatever, it's video games, except video games are my job, so I'm dealing with it more often. The phrase that somebody said a while ago that it really rings true is like, use it now and you won't need to use it later, right? Because it's always save it because you might need it later. We'll use it now and you won't need to, because you won't have a fight to deal with because you didn't get caught, because you just stealth passed, that kind of thing. And the second thing is that in Dishonored, you literally can't be at 0 mana. If you completely run out of juice and drain it to the last drop and hear the boo-boo or whatever noise, it's going to drain enough so that you can still use Blink every 15 seconds. Or Dark Vision.
It'll always go back up to
It'll always go back up to like 1/4 of the total bar, which is enough to use Dark Vision and Blink, which is extra ridiculous because those are the only two abilities I have. So there's actually no possible situation in which I could not be able to use the abilities.
Both of them.
Yes. That I am constantly saving my mana
It's just
and scrounging for more mana for.
It's just showing you a bar.
It's just that it shows me a bar
That's at 25%.
and the bar isn't full.
You need to fuck all the way off.
Dude,
with
I
that.
know. I specifically started playing this game because with this game, it's the worst it's ever been. This game was ruined for me by my mind goblins.
Because I played Sekiro this weekend, and I was talking to Min, and he was talking about how because he didn't play any FromSoft games, so this is like pretty much the first one he's ever touched, and he's going into it going like, yeah, I hit and run, and I used consumables on bosses, and he used the what's it called, the items that multiply certain luck things. I forgot what they're called, but whatever.
I forget. The balloons.
He'd use the Mibu balloons and whatnot, right? And I'd be like, I'm saving those because I don't think I need to waste them. Especially, I don't want to waste them on attempts when I'm still learning what the boss is doing.
And you have the normal version of what I'm talking about, which is frugalness.
And the thought process is, like we learned with Bloodstarved, don't waste the paper on your weapon when you're still trying to figure out what Bloodstarved is doing.
Waste it when you feel confident that it's going to push you over the edge.
Because you're almost there and you need that little extra bit. And so I was fighting that gun girl.
Mm-hmm. That one. That's probably the hardest fight in the whole fucking game.
That's interesting. Huh.
That's how the one on the mountain in front of the gun fort.
Yeah,
I think that's the hardest fight in the whole game for me.
So whatchamacallit, he just let her get poisoned out by waiting 10 minutes. And I said, no, I want to learn it. And it got to a point where I was like, okay, this fight's I have her pattern down. I've memorized everything. I'm out of heals. So let me now go over to my life gems and pop 3 of them.
Sure. Yeah.
And that was enough to win. And
Great.
that's the exact textbook scenario of memorization, just enough to get over the edge. Now you can use those consumables.
Yeah, you're nice right in the middle where you were frugal, but then you used it when it would matter. Right? You're not using it willy-nilly and then you win fights that you already would have won anyway.
Or using it before you have perfect knowledge of the fight.
Yeah.
You're telling me that it's all on the UI.
Not only am I telling you that, but somebody in the chat, in all caps, said something very smart, which is, Pat, you didn't have this problem with Human Revolution. What the fuck is wrong with you? Because Human Revolution uses the same system, right?
But
you can only go, even if you drain it all the way. Well, in Human Revolution, you have discrete batteries on that meter. And in Dishonored, it's a single line with no chunks.
So
I get to go, at least I have one battery left. But when I look at that line, I go, oh god, I only have 1/4 of the bar left, despite those being functionally identical.
Are you telling me that if you have a low life bar, the need to top off is higher than if you were looking at a Zelda heart that's just 1 heart?
Absolutely. At least I have a heart left.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
So what should worry you less?
Therapy.
So what? Yeah.
Video game therapy. Wow.
Remember to always take your vitamins, kids.
Okay.
But
so now what? How do you play the video game?
You force yourself to use items or do things in a way that is initially uncomfortable, and then the world doesn't end, and then it's fine.
And here's the thing. You never even continued playing badly to just get through it badly.
No,
so that you could see
do that.
What the game was about anyway.
No. Because the game ranks you.
Because if I ever were... I'm thinking like playing... If I ever were playing like you know, some sort of character action game where I'm like, I can't fucking get past this thing, but but I still just want to go. I want to know what's ahead. I could see myself using whatever healing item or whatever, getting past it, continuing beating it, so I know I see the content and so on, then going back and doing it properly, because it lets you do that in segments.
Yeah.
You don't. It's a red light.
No, it's a red light. Yeah.
And
I know what you're thinking.
And you'd rather put the game down.
No, eventually I had to put the game down.
Then find out what's going on.
Well, no, because I was not having any fun at all. And there will be a point in this conversation where someone, maybe at home, maybe you, points out that the analogy that you just used is in character action game is one that I actually have no problem with at all, whatsoever, despite explicit rankings at the end of those stages.
Because it's not a binary.
And
it's not,
even if it was exactly the same, I would probably say, well, that's different, or that doesn't count. And you would go, why? And I'd go, because this entire mental process is irrational. There is internal logic, but there's no external logic to the outside. So yeah, at the end of maybe 15 hours of playing Prey this weekend, I beat the first mission. But
Dishonored, you mean?
Yeah, what did I say?
Prey.
Okay, Dishonored. Sorry. Maybe 15 hours of playing Dishonored, I beat the first mission. But 14 of those were struggling with all of this bullshit and failing outright. And then hour 14 to 15 was me going, oh, just fuck it. And blinking everywhere and stabbing a dog that saw me for a second and finishing the level with like 2 kills and a fucking like 10 unconscious bodies found.
I hope that game designers out there build more games that feed your disease so that you are forced to confront it.
That is, unfortunately, how do I put that? Mark Brown does a really good video, Game Maker's Toolkit, on reward systems and how, even if you're not crazy like what I'm describing, reward systems that reward players with pass-fail states of like, good job, you did it, or you're terrible, stealth man, are not the best. And he uses Metal Gear Solid as, Metal Gear Solid 5 as a good example, in that, I believe it's the issue of playing past your mistakes. Of like, playing past your mistakes is what developers often intend, but players will optimize the fun out of the game by quick saving and quick loading and never seeing combat, for example.
Yeah.
Or never, you know. And the easiest way to do that is to make a wide variety of fail states between perfection and total disaster. And he uses Metal Gear Solid 5 as an example, in which there's the guard kind of maybe saw something, to the guard saw you, to the guard's gonna radio it in, to the guard radioed it in, but there's no big alert yet, to everybody knows where you are.
We're going back to character action games because you're getting a report card. You're never getting an F.
Yes.
The F is you didn't beat the mission.
Like imagine
F means game over.
Imagine if fucking platinum games, if in Bayonetta you could only get pure platinum or stone.
Yeah.
It would make you feel like shit.
Like Bloody Palace.
Yeah. Did you beat it? You got an S.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. So yes, the only reason I'm talking about this is I think it's somewhat interesting, just particularly the people who, because I think the one thing that frustrates me is I talk about the mind goblins, and the response from the average person is, "No, just do it, though." I'm like, no, if I could just do it, we wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Yeah.
This wouldn't be a conversation.
What floor did you get to, by the way?
Blade Palace?
Yeah.
Oh, I've barely played it. So I got to 50-something.
Okay.
But that was like the first night. I only played for a half hour.
Okay.
Did you beat it?
No.
I think the highest of anyone I know, unless you've gotten higher, I think Susie, Sphere Hunter, she got to like 87.
I got to 87.
What the fuck's on floor 87?
87 is
What's on 87?
a very particular floor, my friend. If you remember the double blitz from 4,
It's the 3 Furies, isn't it?
3 riots,
3
triple riot, and
You mean Fury?
riot, fury, riot, teleporters,
Fury. Yeah.
Triple fury, and
Yeah, I've heard people talk about that.
DMD furies.
Yeah.
So,
I remember it was funny because I was talking about like not being very good at Furies with Nero, and then like people linked me their tutorials on literally how to beat Furies as Nero.
I have
Like-
I've workshopped my own strategy, and if you have a ragtime, it's a joke.
Yeah.
But when there's more than one, it's still not.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that floor is the real floor. The rest were fucking whatever. Just play optimally and you're fine. But triple furies. Anyway,
I hope everyone had a fun time exploring Mind Goblins. Apologies for shitting up your timelines on Twitter.
I really I want people to find more games that do this, so that you need to.
Well, the problem is that most games do this, but engaging in this kind of behavior doesn't negatively affect the game, right? So think of Persona.
I
right?
want a game where your life bar, your mana, and every resource is not displayed as a bar or a chunk of battery, but as
thumbs up or thumbs down,
or a percentage.
Oh,
And you see you're at 15% life and 12% mana and 8% whatever the fuck.
so you know what? Persona actually does a really good job with this. The items are really valuable, right? Like somas and stuff like that. Those are for emergencies, and the game expects you to save them for fucking emergencies too. But not only that, but it's like, hey, you're not using mana. Good job not killing anything ever, because you need to hit weaknesses. You need to hit spells, right? So you end up running down. Like at the end of a dungeon run, you're down to like, I literally cannot cast any more spells.
And that's the only reason to go home.
Right? Yeah. It's like my characters are exhausted. They just can't. Right?
Yep.
It was a lot easier in 4 when you could talk to Fox and just full heal. Right?
It was interesting learning that the time limit of how far you go into a dungeon is really just your magic. You know? I've never played a game like that before. So
and it works perfectly with the original P3 did it the best. It's like your characters are fucking tired.
Yeah.
You've been in a dungeon fighting your ass off for like 2 hours. They're exhausted.
As opposed to hitting a logical stopping point where it's like, you've done it all, time to go home.
Time to go home, and you're probably prepped for the boss fight at the end of the month.
Yeah. Good luck with all that shit. That's some new shit. That's really
using
the part that bothers me is that the place this comes from is sound advice in Souls games where it's like, yeah, don't use that consumable I mentioned earlier.
The problem is
I didn't realize how easily your cart flies off the fucking rails.
The problem
into the lava
is that this mental thought process has been nurtured by decades of games in which it is a good idea to do everything that I just described. But then you get to games which are like, yeah, use your items. Of course you're supposed to use your items. And it goes, I have played way too many games in which have catered to my insanity, right? I played almost every survival horror game of note that came out in like a 10-year period.
So
guess what? Don't shoot your gun. You know, like...
You mentioned that you bounced, you went through Wonderful 101, but like the control scheme was one of the worst things ever for you.
I used the Pro Controller because I couldn't stand the
drawing on the
touch
pad
stuff,
or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how did you feel about items in that game where this is a platinum game and some items which decrease your score, but some items don't?
Oh, I don't even remember that game having items.
Okay, yeah. So
I just don't even remember.
Exactly. Right. So the first time I went through it, it was like, yeah, I just never look at it, never touch it, ignore it, whatever. And then later on, I found out there's some items that you can use that don't do anything to your score, that are intended to be used, or missiles that are just like extra
Weird.
pickups and whatnot. Right. Now, does knowing that make you inclined to use them?
In those games, I'm very comfortable with that genre, so I would rather just learn to be
just
better.
fight, just be better,
right?
Okay.
But in a stealth game, particularly a first-person stealth game, it's like that road is very long.
Okay.
But like, let's put a cap on this. Like, this is why I hate Earthbound. Because Earthbound, you're like, you go buy a bunch of bottle rockets at the store and shoot them at the boss, right? It makes I want to throw up right now.
You can't just crack your bat forever.
Well, you can, but like, it wants you to use shit.
There needs to be a game where not only does the last boss take all your consumables away from you, but every single action is a consumable, including the defaults.
Let me think, because I'm certain that exists.
I mean, quite D&D mages are using consumable.
Oh
daily
yeah, you want
spells.
to talk? Like, there's a reason why. So you want to get the normie version of this? Vancian spellcasting, which is the spells that you just described, which is
dailies.
Learn your magic missile,
Yep.
and is reviled overall. People like per encounter spells. People even like MP better than that. The idea of like, I have 3 magic missiles. The draw system is the bane of my existence in FF8. Why would I use a spell when it makes my stats weaker?
Yeah.
So what happens when you play FF8? You junction your good stats, and then you just auto-attack every single enemy in the game.
You know what would be fun? A system where spells cost like gray life. That'd be fun.
Okay, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. So every time because if I were to use something that requires life force, I do damage, and then I have a couple turns where it's got to come back.
The only thing,
And if I take a hit, it commits that number plus the extra.
is there a game you're thinking of that does this?
No, I just invented that right now.
Because the only game that I can think of that does anything similar is Soul Sacrifice, when you use the big fucking sacrifice abilities.
Okay.
Because
I was talking in a tabletop context.
okay,
But in terms of a video game, I mean, there is Mira in KI, who's a vampire, whose moves involve her taking away gray life from her and then spending it to like, damage you, and she can cash it out to make it all back with a bite. And then there's some wacky ass mechanic in Soul Nomad and the whatever the World Eaters or whatever it's called, where you can choose to level yourself up as much as you want at sacrifice of something else. So you can just power. It's crazy. I don't know what the exact details are, but some crazy shit like that is out there. Yeah, reset the clock on Soul Nomad references. Well, anyway, sir. If we
so
may.
to those of you who have stupid video game problems like the ones that I described, the only way you're going to beat them is by bashing your head against them and forcing yourself to be uncomfortable.
And at the end of the day, Dishonored is a good game, right?
Oh, it's a fantastic game. I knew that it's fantastic. I just wish I could actually appreciate it.
All right. Let's.
Hopefully, Mind Goblin defeated.
I wouldn't say that.
Damaged? Well, no. See, here's the thing: you can defeat individual Mind Goblins, but goblins.
Phase 1.
There are many goblins, Woolie. This is what I'm saying.
Phase 1. And quite frankly, the moment you stopped playing that game, the boss fight reset.
No.
When you go back to it, you're gonna make the noise. You're gonna do that little fucking thing that you do, and it'll be indicative of that life bar restarting. Because maybe that damage is like posture, where if you back off for too long, they're back to full.
We'll see.
What happened this week? Well,
why are you mad at me for being nuts? You're reacting.
No, I'm not mad. I'm shocked at how bad it's gotten, because I didn't know it was that bad.
Oh, it's been like this for years.
Because I didn't know about it's the
remember
the battery life bar indicator.
Oh
one.
yeah, no, it's always been like this.
That one is the weird one.
Because you say the reason I say is like at how bad it's gotten. It's like Dishonored came out in the 360 generation, and I bounced off it. I had less success with it then. It's actually better now than it used to be.
Yeah. I don't know what to tell you. Like, at least it's not some like. At least it's not something where, I don't know. Let's say someone out there is like, I can't fight animals in video games, so the moment I hit Sift, game goes off, never playing it again.
Yeah, that's real.
Right.
And those spider people.
Right, or whatever, and then in which case it's like, well, not even that though. I mean broad.
Yeah, you mean
Right.
like the people who freaked out when at Walking Dead season 2, episode 1 came
Shot
out?
the dog, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, that is a much bigger problem because you are locked out of content.
Yeah, and you're internalizing things in a way that was never intended.
And if a boss happens to pick on to become an animal for the sake of like gameplay variety, because fighting a quadruped is different from a biped, then sorry, you're not gonna enjoy this too much. But it can get worse, is what I'm saying.
Oh, I know.
And it can get more irrational. But your particulars are fucking terrible and stupid, and you should feel bad.
Oh, I see. Oh, yeah. Oh, all right.
Or play it on PC and mod the game so that you get.
I am playing it on PC.
We'll mod the game so that your HUD is off or something. I don't know. Like, make it so that it's just a bunch of like.
So I looked into mods in general.
What if it's like it's just like your mana not being full means that you have like a vignette that just slowly fades back away or some stupid shit.
I looked into mods just in general to see if there were any, and one of the ones I found was a guy who wants to play with no HUD because he hates seeing his mana half full.
There you go.
And I'm like, all right. At least, because that's the worst feeling in the world when you're crazy in a way like this, and you're like, am I the only one? And then you're like, no, that guy's nuts.
Now here's what I've got. I hate running around with a gun that's not reloaded.
That is, the single most common thing.
Yeah.
Of anyone.
Yeah.
I saw a guy talking about how when he went to fucking, I think it was boot camp or something, and he'd be doing training, he would compulsively reload. He'd try and reload his rifle
in real life
after like 3 or 4 rounds, and then they would make him like buy everybody a round or some shit every time he did that to break him of his habit.
Wow. Okay, that's funny.
Because like in real life, like you're throwing bullets away, man.
Yes.
What are you doing?
But so that's one I get, but it's irksome. It's not compulsive, and that's I guess the difference here.
Depends how irksome it feels, not how irksome it is. How irksome it feels.